You can say hello to YouTube if you want, because this might end up on YouTube as a reaction video or something. So hello YouTube, I hope you're well over there. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. And let's start the video, right? Boy. You can also say something nice about the YouTube CEO, of course, you know. And that's it. Let's start the video together and see what Fireborn has to tell us about the Hitless guy who cheated on Hollow Knight.
Now, this is a shitty situation.
Indeed, yes.
It seems that no matter how good people are at the games they play, some just cannot resist the temptation to cheat. Whether it be through splicing their videos, peeking around their blindfolds, or just plain using invincibility in their hitless runs, few gaming communities can say...
Okay, straight up, before we watch this, okay, real quick. Can somebody explain to me, in short words, where's the satisfaction? Like, when you beat a hitless run or any challenge run and you cheated, where's the satisfaction? You knew you cheated, there's nothing gained from that, right? Like, for real now. Turn the sound up. Okay, you guys can't hear it for real? Okay, wait a second. It should be better now.
Say they haven't had to deal with a
better?
cheater. The Hollow Knight community, thankfully, hasn't had to deal with many. In fact, in my numerous years as a Hollow Knight speedrunner, I can't recall any instance of someone intentionally cheating. But this case was something else. Not only was the person involved one of the more popular Hollow Knight content creators, he was respected as a top hitless runner. His trick to beating bosses hitless? Using invincibility. I've done a deep dive into all of the drama, and I'm grateful that my community members, specifically Whiskey and Homie, were able to translate a 33-page document containing all of it. But before we dive into the drama, some background must be given.
I think I have not seen this video, by the way.
Colloquially known as Pantheon 5 or P5, is the toughest unmodded content in Hollow Knight. It's the final challenge in the final DLC of the game. It's a boss rush containing 45 bosses total, and although it was challenging on release, Pantheon 5 has since become a playground for challenge runners. Players seek to get the fastest time.
Look how they play, dude. It's insane, right? Like, how are these people humans? What the fuck? The movements, it's so
beat it
quick.
With the most restrictions, or finish with the least amount of damage taken. The highest, most prestigious accomplishment of all being completing Pantheon 5 in its entirety without taking a single hit of damage.
Finally! Fucking finally!
Pantheon challenge runs are what the Chinese Hollow Knight community show the most respect for. The Chinese community lacked easy access to speedrunning resources, such as programs, mods, and guides, and as a result never developed as much of an interest in full-game speedruns as the Western community did.
Next run will be Hollow Knight.
The first Pantheon 5 hitless run was completed in just over a year after the Godmaster DLC release, a feat referred to in the Chinese community as R5, or Radiant Pantheon 5. It was completed by a player who you might not have heard of, Black Moon, who has actually completed the challenge a staggering 3 times, on top of holding speedrun world records for Pantheon 5 with no bindings and with all bindings. Impressively, 11 people have completed Pantheon 5 hitless today, and 8 of them are from the Chinese Hollow Knight community. But if you were a member of their community, you might be a little confused by this list. Isn't someone missing? This player, Shi Mianye, meaning Snow Cotton Leaf, or as Westerners know him, Cotton, was one of the most respected players in China. Cotton is known for being the first, and to this day only, player to ever defeat any Radiants. a modded boss which was quite literally designed to be impossible. But his most renowned feat is being the second player ever after Black Moon to finish Pantheon 5 hitless. So why isn't he on the leaderboard? Well, it's because he's a cheater.
Da-da. Holy shit.
On January 5th of this year, I was contacted by a respected member of the community, Methyl Palladium, also known as Templari in the Chinese scene, who at the time was the 4th player to complete P5 hitless.
It's actually a huge scandal if you're regarded as one of the best and like your achievements are built, you know, on that cards of lies, on that house of cards of lies. It's insane, especially when you're
concerning a post from a player who, oddly enough,
especially when
was
you're
mainly
regarded as one
known
of the
from the
best.
Celeste speedrunning community. This player, Plush, showcased a number of clips of Cotton's Pantheon 5 run, which seemed highly suspicious. Let's start by taking a look at them.
Wait, did we have in the Hitless community, like, did we have a cheating scandal like that ever? I mean, this guy is a Hitless runner, of course, as well, but not like From Software, you know? Celeste? I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Did we have something similar ever? Like, did we have, like, serious cheating? Not from the biggest runners? Yo, Judge, hi.
In this clip against Umu, Cotton swings at an Uma whose explosion immediately detonates because it is inside of a platform. Although it seems as if Cotton is touching the hitbox of the explosion, he doesn't get hit by it. In this clip against Lost Kin, Cotton gets jumped at and Lost Kin falls into him before he shade cloaks away.
Oh my god, dude,
In
what
this
the
clip
fuck?
against White Defender, a dung ball clearly overlaps with Cotton's character. Again, Cotton activates Invincibility frames from Shade Cloak,
Oh
but
no.
only after the moment where he should have been hit. Last, and arguably
Doma.
most bizarre, is Cotton's fight versus Flukemarm. This is weird for a couple of reasons. First, there is a clear cut in the footage where a Fluke was seemingly shot directly into him. Furthermore, this strategy for killing Flukemarm, one of the least risky bosses in all of Pantheon 5, is terrible. All experienced players know to avoid being around the diagonals of Flukemarm as it is about to spawn Flukes, and there are very clear indicators of when this is going to happen. Cotton instead casually falls directly into the path where one of the Flukes spawns.
Oh my god,
And
dude.
as
When
the
he
Fluke
cut it,
seemingly flies into him,
Oh my god,
there is
there-
a convenient cut in the footage.
holy fucking shit, the dude. No regrets. What the fuck? Like, that's so obvious as well, right? Didn't he not think that anybody would find out? That's actually insane that the dude did not thought of that.
Methyl Palladium, on behalf of the Chinese Hollow Knight community, asked my opinion on these clips. At the time, I was pretty certain that Cotton used Invincibility in his run, but I was a fan of his and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. So before passing judgment, I posted this to my Discord server, as it includes several Pantheon 5 hitless runners and almost all of the best speedrunners in the game. Players unanimously agreed that something was very questionable about these clips. But they didn't stop there. Some members of the community began browsing through his other videos and came across similar suspicious instances where it seemed like he should have been hit. In some cases, these were so egregious that his character was almost not even visible, as an enemy's attack nearly entirely covered his sprites.
Holy shit, this guy.
It seems like almost every Hitless boss challenge that Cotton had done had at least one of these moments. So I told Methyl Palladium that I thought Cotton had cheated, and that top players in the Western Hollow Knight community who I showed this to unanimously agreed. Methyl told me that the Chinese community performed in-depth reviews of the videos, including creating a new...
I can imagine that there's a separate verification process for maybe for the Chinese part and the Western part. I have no idea. That's at least what I can imagine.
New mod to show enemy hitboxes. They discovered that in the Pantheon 5 video, all 4 clips had at least one frame where the hitboxes clearly overlapped. Just a couple of days later, on January 7th, Methyl returned to my Discord, stating that the Chinese community had had a talk with Cotton. Methyl brought forward a report detailing all of the evidence they had compiled. This report was based on analysis by many of China's best players, including Stool, Black Moon, Sawyer, and others. Cotton conceded to them that he had used Invincibility, but claimed it was only because he was testing something prior to the run, and he forgot to turn the cheats off
afterward. The classic. I forgot to turn it off classic, dude. Yeah, of course. The absolute classic. In every of these runs, and then he uploaded the runs even though he knew he had forgotten to turn it off. Oh man. And claimed them to be real. Man, it's like never mind.
When asked about the fluke marm cut in the footage, Cotton insisted it was simply because of a video glitch or low FPS. Black Moon began interrogating Cotton, noticing the inconsistencies in Cotton's statements. Cotton said he couldn't recall anything about the incident because he never felt as if he were even close to getting hit. Black Moon said that if he were so close to getting hit by Fluke Marm, he would definitely remember it. Black Moon also mentions the Triple Nailmaster Hitless video, which is another fight Cotton seemingly used Invincibility on. Cotton actually responded with anger, claiming...
Okay, real quick. If this really happens and you do it by accident, you can see afterwards that this program is still running. Am I correct? Like, there has to be a separate program running. And you can see that afterwards, and then you don't upload your run. Or am I stupid?
That Black Moon was framing him and that there was an issue with his judgment. Cotton began posting dozens of messages and images in a row of players coming close to getting hit but not actually taking damage, and asked Black Moon each time if these images looked like cheating to him. Cotton claimed that after the Triple Nailmaster video, he pulled up the debug menu to show that Invincibility was off. But Stool wisely pointed out that this proves nothing. Cotton could have simply deactivated Invincibility with a hotkey before opening the menu. Cotton had not only been caught lying, but was being completely unapologetic about it. Cotton ended the conversation by saying shitty game, shitty hitboxes, and a bunch of shitty people.
Oh my god.
Cotton later claimed that shitty people was meant as a joke. It was a phrase a favorite streamer of his apparently uses. Due to Cotton's popularity in the Chinese Hollow Knight community, top Chinese players were concerned about the judgment of the masses. Stool, another top Chinese player, stated that he was worried about the emotional factor of viewers who blindly believed that Cotton had done nothing wrong. Even though they hadn't read the report, that their team had created. Imagine, for example, how people might respond if Scurry, Monsteller, or myself received accusations of cheating. Some people just weren't willing to believe that their boy Cotton was a cheater. On January 11th, however, Cotton silently...
You guys think that there are like these hardcore fans out there who just defend whatever streamer they watch, no matter what? Like, you know? Even if they know and there's like proof of them, of their wrongdoing. And I hope that, I mean, I obviously love like this community and all, and you guys in chat, but holy fuck, I hope that you guys, when I do some shit wrong or whatever, that you guys can tell me, you know? And that there are no people who say, man, Nico is always right or whatever. Or he can't do any wrong. That would be terrible. Imagine you would live in that world where you always are perceived as that, you know, perfect person.
Deleted his Pantheon 5 Hitless video from YouTube. And on January 14th, Cotton deleted the video from Bilibili as well, a Chinese video sharing site where he gained significantly more fame. Cotton's viewers, unaware of the cheating scandal, began to ask questions. Cotton responded to these comments saying that there were issues with the video and he would re-upload it eventually. Brum, a respected member of the Chinese community, theorized it might be possible that the Flukemarm clip was legitimate. After all, sometimes when the game lags, enemies will continue their current movement while the game is frozen, and teleport a certain distance after the game unfreezes. Brum considered the idea that perhaps this was what happened, and the Fluke's hitbox did not collide with Cotton as a result of the enemy teleporting. However, through analyzing the video frame by frame, the Chinese community found that this footage had definitely been cut on purpose, since there were no freeze frames prior to the cut. At this point, Cotton admitted that the Flukemarm cut was intentional. In their group chat, Cotton afterward became...
I mean, now he's done, right? Like, when you do it intentional, let's just pretend and say there was a program, he didn't see it, he uploaded all of these runs, even though he had invincibility frames on, etc., etc. But if you intentionally cut a video and then upload it and claim that video to be, like, legitimate, that's when you're completely done. Hey, Yuna, hi. That's just...
upset
the end of it.
And claimed that Black Moon and Methil had a vendetta against him. Brum explained...
Yo, Trekkie, thank you so much, dude. Thanks for 25, brother. You're legitimate. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. How are you doing, Trekkie? Everything alright?
That what they didn't like was his cheating, and that they didn't dislike him as a person. Methil also agreed, saying that they were only stating facts, and that there was no personal malicious intent. Cotton immediately backpedaled, claiming that him stating it was a vendetta was only a joke. Later, Cotton was removed from the group chat for making that statement. The writer of the report on Cotton's cheating emphasizes their respect for Cotton's skill at the game, and Cotton is, without question, an excellent Hollow Knight player. Many high-profile cheaters, such as Billy Mitchell, Dream, and others, don't cheat to perform feats they're incapable of.
Billy Mitchell
but
everywhere.
Instead cheat because they feel they deserve the recognition despite not having completed the achievement. Cotton's problem was his mentality. He simply had no respect for the game. Cotton became increasingly frustrated with his own mistakes, and when he failed, it was the game's fault. And since his failures were the game's fault, it was okay for him to cheat, because he never deserved to fail in the first place. But the reality is that we are not entitled to success every time. That isn't how the world works, and that isn't how games work either.
That isn't how
failure is
Emma Ishin works as well, you know?
a necessary part of the process of improving. Some fans of these players might insist that because they're great players, they couldn't have cheated, but this couldn't be further from the case. As Cotton dedicated more time to becoming a great player, his frustration with the game grew, and so too did his entitlement, leading him to believe he deserved achievements which he simply had not earned. Various members of the Chinese Hollow Knight community spoke out about Cotton and his unwillingness to admit to his cheating. It wasn't until the morning of February 11th, about a month later, that Cotton issued a public apology. In this apology, Cotton told people that he deleted the Radiant P5 video due to the contents of the report created by Methyl and others. Cotton, however, still said that he hadn't meant to cheat in the first place. He further stated that it wasn't a big deal because most people didn't mind. Many Chinese Hollow Knight community members expressed disappointment with his attitude. Cotton responded an hour later. In this response, Cotton...
do we know how old this guy... It seems like a younger person a little bit. I don't know, like the entitlement and the self-centered, you know, way of going about things, and that he has... It's all about him, and it's a little bit narcissistic.
Seems downtrodden.
Very immature.
Cotton points out that he had sent an apology.
You know, always victimizing himself, stuff like this. That's just such a to
Plush shortly after hearing about the accusations, but that this apology was never made public. Cotton says that he is committed to completing Pantheon 5 Hitless legitimately and reposting the video. Finally, in the evening of the same day, Cotton issued a lengthier, more complete apology. Cotton fully conceded that regardless of his intent, the video was illegitimate. Cotton explained that what he did was wrong because it delegitimized all the other players who worked so hard for their achievements, and he promised that in the future he would never use cheats again. Cotton also stated that he was sorry for downplaying the incident up until that point, that he regretted not coming clean immediately, and that he deserved the judgment the community had handed him. Cotton also individually apologized to Black Moon, Methyl, and others. Cotton admitted that the apology came late, and it was because he was running away from the problem, but that he is now taking it as an important lesson. Overall, the Chinese community was disappointed by Cotton's behavior. They felt upset that Cotton continually played the victim in private, and only came clean once it became a public issue. Notable community members like Brum stated that Cotton had permanently broken their trust. Even completing Pantheon 5 Hitless again would not be able to mend it. Flo Enol, another community member, stated that the Flukemarm cut was an act of deception that went even beyond the use of Invincibility.
That's in my opinion the biggest problem, is that as you just said, act of deception. That is deliberately making that cut and uploading it and making sure. That's just another level. That's even worse, right? That's probably what makes it the worst.
Invincibility. Black Moon reiterated that he and the Chinese Hollow Knight community have a zero-tolerance policy for cheating. What's my take? It was an incomplete apology. The use of Invincibility was clearly intentional, and his excuses that it was a mistake by leaving Invincibility on after practice is, in my opinion, not even remotely believable. Just why would someone practice for a hitless run using Invincibility? It makes no sense. Invincibility takes away all the feedback you receive from getting hit. So if you're practicing a strategy using Invincibility, you have no idea whether it's actually going to work.
True.
Cotton also limited the narrative to being about his P5 Hitless video, even though players like Black Moon and Stool questioned him about his Triple Nail Masters Hitless video. I believe that numerous videos of his clearly used Invincibility, and it demonstrates that there was an intention to cheat. Although it appeared Cotton sincerely felt bad about cheating, the fact that he didn't...
Just to be clear, okay, I beat Pantheon 5 once, obviously no bindings and shit, just like once through, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like P5, not hitless, okay? Just beating P5 is fucking tough.
address all of the issues.
Wait, you don't believe me or what? Oh shit, I didn't like record it.
In my perspective, an attempt to salvage the situation instead of being honest and coming clean.
My dick, Ninja,
At the end of the day, let's not forget that bullying is unacceptable. So I implore all of you not to seek out, threaten, or harass Cotton over this incident. Do not forget that there is a human behind the username. I can relate, and I know you can all relate too, to Cotton's feelings of frustration at failing to achieve the accomplishments he had hoped for. But cheating to achieve those accomplishments is no substitute for reaching them through hard work and perseverance. No matter how others perceive it, what matters is that you know how hard you pushed yourself to achieve your success. No amount of external recognition can replace that.
That is true.
It's important to emphasize that Cotton's actions as an individual do not represent the Chinese Hollow Knight community as a whole. This was only one individual in a community of thousands, and while the community had asked for the opinion of Western Hollow Knight players, the Chinese community ultimately dealt with this entirely on their own. I also want to give a shout out to the Chinese Hollow Knight community for putting forth so much effort to keep the scene free of cheaters. Frankly, a lot of people don't know just how impressive top Chinese Hollow Knight players are. If you're interested in seeing more of their content, I'll include links to some of their channels in the video description. Please consider checking them out. If you liked this video and want to hear more...
Like, if you did watch this video with us now, and you did not play Hollow Knight yet, I can only, this is just such an incredible game. It's like $15 or whatever, or $20, and it's one of the best video games I have ever... You have not played it yet? It is an absolute fucking insane video game. It's super good. It's a masterpiece, yeah.
More of this kind of thing in the future, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinions. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
That was Fireborn, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video, okay? Here's the link to Fireborn's video again in chat. And we're gonna watch another one soon, for sure, okay? Maybe more Fireborn in the future. Or maybe more Elden Ring Asmongold content. Who knows? Thanks, YouTube.
The worst Elden Ring hot takes. Let's find out about this.
Wait, wait a second. Is this the video? Wait, it just played by chance. Is this the video about, like, what's his name again? Quantum TV? That was such an arc, dude. The Quantum TV arc. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, and maybe we'll watch the Quantum TV arc one day. Thank you. Tschüss.